Fellas, I gotta be honest. When I was dating my now wife, it broke me down. It broke me down in a powerful way. It wasn't easy. It hurt. Yes, was dating her super, super fun. Of course, it was awesome. It was wonderful. But it also caused me to grow and mature rapidly, more quickly than I ever had before, and face things that and insecurities and triggers that I'd not been totally aware of. In today's video, I'm going to lay out some of those things for you because as you get into a relationship, or maybe you're already in a relationship, you have experienced the same thing, or you're experiencing the same thing, and maybe you relate to this, you learn something from it. I'm going to lay out all the different things, the struggles that I had, some of the scripture that I think was so important as I was trying to grow and learn and mature at kind of a really rapid pace that it hurt a lot. But I'm going to lay those things out for you in this video, and I pray it will be beneficial for you. So let's dive in. Little bonus announcement just for a second. If you want a copy of my book where I talk about relationships, dating, purity, all that kind of thing within this book, and it's a book for fathers and sons, I'd encourage you to sign up on Patreon today, and I will send you a book if you are in North America. And that's my gift to you for signing up to Patreon and supporting what I do here on the channel. Thanks so much. Now on to the video. Before I jump into the specific ways that God broke me down during dating, I want to share with you a few verses that have been helpful for me as I learned and grew and matured, knowing that this is a good thing, this is a positive thing, but it hurts. In Proverbs 15:32, it says, "Whoever ignores instruction despises himself, but he who listens to reproof gains intelligence." That's not just reproof from others, but it's reproof from the Lord as well. The fear of the Lord is instruction in wisdom, and humility comes before honor. So everyone wants to be honored out there, but humility comes before it. Everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. What I realized, and what you guys will find out, is that, man, there was a lot of arrogance and self-righteousness in my heart as I began dating my now wife, and God was breaking that down within me. And the last verse here, this is from 16:18. It says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before the fall." That's a pretty popular verse, but do we listen to it? Do we adhere to what the Bible says about pride and humbling ourselves? Sometimes it takes God breaking us down. This is what happened to me. One of the first things I had to confront were some of my insecurities as my capabilities and competency as a man and doing things with my hands. You see, growing up as a young guy, my dad didn't do, too many handyman things. He tried his best. He definitely worked hard at things he knew how to do, but there were a lot of things that he would outsource, that he would get other people to do, whether it's my grandpa or, just get a professional to do it in order, and that was just the way things worked. And so there's some things that I just didn't really know my hand around. Meanwhile, her dad, very blue collar, very, he knows how to fix all these random things. He knows the insides and outsides of all sorts of different machines, and he knows how to do it. And she just gets used to that, right? She grows up with a father that can do all those things. Meanwhile, I come in, lacking in a lot of those skills, lacking in a lot of that knowledge, thinking, man, wow, she must think I'm a complete loser because I cannot do this. Well, now some of that is humbling myself and being like, okay, you need to just admit where you're at. You don't need to pose as some guy that actually does know how to do all this stuff. But another piece to it is humbling yourself enough to learn, to say, okay, I don't know. I'm going to try to learn. And it's to say, maybe I don't need to be good at everything. Maybe I don't have to be perfect at all these different things. Maybe I just need to be honest about who I am and what my capabilities truly are. And does she accept that? Does she accept that? That's an important question. Maybe if you're dating somebody and you're being honest about who you are and what your capabilities are, maybe they will reject you. But at least you need to be honest, and you need not put a front up because of your own pride and saying, no, I can do this. I can fix it. I can da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, you actually don't know how. Meanwhile, you actually need help. Or meanwhile, you just need to be honest about where you are personally at. And hopefully that person just says, hey, you know what? I love you for you. And we'll learn that together. And that's where my wife was, where she was like, I don't know how to do a lot of this stuff too. And so we can learn together. That's, you're good at a lot of other things. And that's great. Another area that God broke me down was leadership. I was able to step up sometimes in my teens to leadership positions because I saw there was a great empty void, right? When there's an empty void in something that needs to be led, then I can be like, okay, I'll do it. You know what? I can step up. And that's the primary times that I had been a leader. Versus generally in my regular life, I'm just kind of not necessarily a go with the flow. I like to plan, I like to structure, but I'm okay if somebody else wants to take the lead. I'm a people pleaser to my core. And so I am okay if somebody wants to take the lead. I'll do what you want to do. Great. That's awesome. But when it came to dating my wife, it became very apparent really early on that I was going to have to make some decisions. I was going to need to plan some things. I was going to need to take the lead and take the fall if those things fell through. I need to take some risks. Oh, I don't know if she wants to do this. I don't know if she likes this, but I'm just going to need to plan and go ahead, plan dates, as simple as that is. Choose where we're going to go out to eat. Choose the activity for the evening. We could go this way or that way. Which way are we going to go? There's a lot of decisions and leadership that takes place that you don't realize. But for somebody like me who was honestly scared that I would make the wrong decision, that was a stretching thing. And it took me a while to really believe that I had the capability to lead and also to have the courage to lead. Those two things were really hard. The next thing is comfort. I honestly had a hard time allowing somebody else to know me in a deep way. I never experienced that before. But also to get to know somebody deeply and to know when not to pry too much, when to create and how to create an environment that allowed them to open up, that was safe, where you were building trust. Like, a lot of these things were challenging because I think for me, I wanted to be like, I want to know this person right away, everything about them, da 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 da. But just generally, a lot of people, it takes them a while to open up and they want to see, can you be trusted? And you need to give them all the signals in the world that say, yeah, I can be trusted. I'm going to create this safe environment, this non-judgmental environment where you can open up to me, where you can tell me whatever, and I'm going to be here. And that was big for me to learn, to be patient, to create that environment of trust. And I definitely was not perfect at it. And I've grown a lot in that area. The other piece that was challenging was sticking to physical boundaries. I don't know if you guys have been watching me on social media for a long time, but if you have, you've seen me go from a 17, 18-year-old guy who's talking about, physical boundaries and what those things look like in relationships and all that and God. But now, it came face to face with like the concept of, would I be true to what I had said, or would I compromise? And it is a lot more challenging and difficult than you think it is. Like, really, for me, I was like, man, I'm solid, I'm good. But when you have a pretty girl in front of you, it's really hard to maintain those physical boundaries. So God really stretched me in that area to see if I was going to be true to what I had said, to be true to what I believed, or to fall into temptation. But the truth is, it sets the tone for the relationship, especially as the man, to say, hey, this is what's acceptable. This is what we're not going to do. This is what we're not going to do, because we want to honor God in this relationship. It's not what can we get away with. It's what is going to be honoring to God. And yeah, we made some mistakes, absolutely. But together, that was our mindset, and we could help keep each other accountable. The other piece was emotional vulnerability. I'm a people pleaser to my core, as I said before. And to invite somebody into my emotional world as somebody that would consider themselves to be a more emotional man, that was vulnerable for me. I had this expectation on myself and seeing people around me just growing up that as a man, as a husband, I would need to be stoic. I would need to be, reserved. I would need to be to myself. I need to not verbalize or really show my emotions as much, because that's just not something that men should do. That destabilizes the home. That those were kind of my beliefs. And so for me, I was like, okay, this is my time. I'm in a relationship. I need to really not show my cards, not show who I truly am in this emotional way. But then I began to see, okay, wait, maybe this is part of it. Maybe if somebody is going to get to know me, if my girlfriend, my now wife, is going to really get to know me, then I need to let her into this. And then fear began to come in to say, man, you would much rather keep people at a distance and them just like you and just think you're cool and whatever, than for them to actually get to know you. Why? Because you believe you're too much. You believe you're too much emotionally for them to handle. And that was something that I really struggled with, to say, okay, can my wife really handle who I truly am and what I truly feel? Or is that going to overwhelm her? Is that going to push her away? And there becomes a place where you got to be vulnerable and take that leap to say, hey, this is who I am. This is how I feel. I feel deeply. And I don't want this to overwhelm you, but I know it might. but will you stay? One of the things that really helped me on this journey, and honestly, this is just bonus, is that every couple is different. Every couple goes through their own struggles. Every couple has a different kind of communication style and attachment style, and not all women interact the same within a relationship, and not all men interact the same within a relationship. And you need to know where you're at and how you interact and how you deal with conflict and all those things. And at the end of the day, to realize that God is central. Our security and significance in God's eyes is primary. And we can only be in a healthy relationship if we are looking to God for that security, for that significance, for that ultimate love. The trouble comes in is when we're looking to the other person to see us as perfect and to fill us up totally, and for this to be some sort of perfect relationship. Okay. That's not what you want. That's not what you're striving for. What you're striving for is to understand each other's faults, is to understand each other's weaknesses, but to say collectively, man, I love you anyway. I think you're awesome. I think you're so cool. I know you have these faults, but I want you to admit them. I want you to be humble, but we're cool. But we're awesome. You get into trouble when one of the partners starts saying, I'm awesome. I'm so cool. And being prideful and saying that they don't need to grow in all these areas. God taught me 100% that, Isaac, if this is going to work, you're going to need to humble yourself. You're going to realize that you're not all that. You think you know a lot about relationships. You think you know, you have a high emotional intelligence. Yeah, well, take a look. Realize that you're not all that. Everything's cracked up. Realize that you're not all that, and you need me. And at the end of the day, guys, rely on God. Rely on Him to give you that strength in the midst of however He's breaking you down, whether that's in dating, whether that's in your job, whether that's in your marriage. Like, God is going to be breaking you down because He's molding you. He's molding you into who He wants you to be, and you have a choice. You can have a soft heart. You can react with that and be molded with a soft heart, or you can harden your heart. You can harden your heart to God. Say, I don't want you to break me down. I'm gonna be resistant to the molding that you want for me, the change that you want for me, the growth that you want for me. I don't want that for you guys. I hope you benefited from this video. I hope you're encouraged by it. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys watching this content. If you enjoyed it, subscribe because I'm putting out new videos all the time. And until next time, keep pursuing the mission.